probably the most egotistical killer out there, the Amazon Review Killer.
Mom was the closest, and I shot her 2 to 3 times in the chest. Not my best work.
Todd Kohlhepp seemed like an everyday real estate agent, but deep down, Kohlhepp was a killer twisted enough to leave reviews on Amazon about how useful their tools were in his crimes. A young couple, Kayla Brown and Charles Carver, were suddenly declared missing in 2016. Unbeknownst to the world, Kohlhepp had murdered Charles, then kidnapped and abused Kayla after inviting them over to...
So you mean to tell me he preyed on couples? Like this couple right here, he preyed on them? And had sex with they women? Like, what the fuck? That's crazy as hell. Ain't no way in the world I could do something like that. If I can't get it, it's somebody out there who will give it to you. And nowadays, you can pay for it. Well, I mean, you could pay for it a lot easy back in those times too. But now I'm just saying, like, now. It's crazy.
To his property under the guise of employment. He was there for 2 months.
Most of the time, whatever I mean, wanted sexually again. And I refused to do anything that he wanted. If I said no, he didn't force himself on me. He said he didn't believe it, but he made it very well known while I was there. And if I wasn't useful, that I wouldn't need to be kept any longer, and that he would shoot me.
The police would eventually track the couple's cell phone signals to their last location, Kohlhepp's 95-acre rural property. They immediately heard the sound of Kayla Brown desperately banging on the inside of a container, screaming for help. They made their way inside to find Kayla chained to the wall, sitting on a dog bed, and barely able to move as her chains forced her to sit upright almost all the time.
Just a girl. How are you, honey? This is bolt cutters. This is our best. He's a paramedic.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get you out of there. Okay.
Just hang loose for me.
Anybody got? I need a handcuff key. Handcuff key. I got it right here.
As one group of officers were rescuing Kayla, another group was already at Kohlhepp's home, ready to take him in.
While we were here, all right, my sergeant served a search warrant on your property. Okay? We have Kayla. We have Kayla in your property.
After his arrest, Kohlhepp would boast about having more blood on his hands. He would confess to having killed a couple that had been missing since 2015, Johnny Coxey and Megan McCraw Coxey, and their bodies would later be found on his property.
And Johnny pulled a knife out, and
You shot?
I shot him.
What'd you do with his knife?
Oh no, I don't keep that kind of crap.
You just threw it out?
Yeah, that's right. I don't want her outside. I put a 40 in the back of her head.
What gun did you shoot her with?
Same one.
That you shot Johnny with? And that's a Glock?
And that's the same one you shot
Charlie.
It's not my favorite gun.
It's a handy gun.
Handy one. It's very effective.
Todd Kohlhepp also gleefully confessed to committing a quadruple homicide back in 2003 when he murdered everyone in a motorcycle shop because he didn't like their attitude.
I cleared it in under 30 seconds.
You what now?
I cleared that building in under 30 seconds. You got a little bit proud.
Those Amazon reviews I mentioned earlier was Kohlhepp's twisted pride in his acts. On a review for a padlock, he wrote, "Solid locks have 5 on a shipping container, won't stop them, but will slow them down till they are too old to care," referring to the 5 padlocks he used to keep Kayla locked up. And his review for a folding shovel is equally as disturbing. "Keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies, and you left the full-size shovel at home." Kohlhepp pled guilty to all counts of kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder, and was sentenced to 7 consecutive life sentences, only narrowly dodging capital punishment by entering a plea bargain.
Oh man, this guy's super sick. I don't see how the fuck you could comfortably do the shit you was doing and then still be sexually aroused by the shit, on top of leaving reviews on how useful and helpful the motherfucking shit you ordered to do your crime and dirt with. Like, come on, that's just the sickest, most low down dirty shit I ever seen in my life, man. I never thought somebody would be this comfortable and stupid. I mean, he is stupid, but comfortable to talk about this shit the way he was doing, and then confess to, he confessed to other fucking murders that they didn't even know about. Man.
is the most dangerous man in the world, and it's clear that he intends to be a danger to society until the day he's finally executed. In fact, he's been engaging in criminality since his childhood. Born into a family of infamous felons, his ancestry is littered with unlawful acts. Even his grandmother, Norma Ann Levering, had been convicted of robbery at age 20 and survived being shot sometime years later. Although it's believed that no one is born bad, Nico certainly started to endanger those around him at an early age. At just 7 years old, he took a loaded .25 caliber handgun to school, and while his intentions were never made clear, his actions later in life would suggest that they weren't good. Following this,
Alright, so the reason why I stopped it at this photo right here, I never seen a photo of this crazy motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, like this. When I seen him, he was on death row, about to get killed type shit, and that's when, you know, people made memes about it. You know the memes people be making. But anyway, I never seen that photo. So he must have did all this shit in prison or something, because he been always in the system. And that's why I feel bad for kids that are like in their teenage years, that's putting their self in the system and not knowing that most of y'all is probably just gonna be stuck while some gonna be able to make it out, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I feel like it's crazy to see how evil people can be, you know what I'm saying? It just, damn.
he joined a cycle of group homes, mental institutions, and juvenile detention centers. In keeping with his status as a criminal prodigy, Nico was sent to prison at 13 for car theft and aggravated assault. Once inside, Nico shelved any plans to reform and was charged with additional felonies for attacking a guard and being instrumental in inciting a prison riot. A move that no doubt haunts the authorities to this day. They opted to allow Nico to serve his sentences for these crimes concurrently with his existing conviction, and he was subsequently let out of the penitentiary after 10.5 years. While the judge likely reasoned that a young man who'd been locked up since his adolescence deserved a second chance at life, he didn't know what kind of malevolent evil that he let back out on the streets. And keeping with everything we know about him to this point, it didn't take long for him to begin to alter the course of innocent lives forever. 11 days after he returned to the outside world, Jenkins murdered Juan Pena and George Ruiz in cold blood. Their bodies were later found in a pickup truck. Aside from killing those unfortunate enough to cross his path, Jenkins proved himself to be inherently untrustworthy and unflinching in his desire to wreak havoc, as 8 days on, he claimed the life of Curtis Bradford. Bradford had been a friend of his since his days behind bars, and the two were even pictured together in the immediate lead up to Bradford's life being mercilessly cut short. Days later, he was back to his old ways of cruelty, shooting mother of three Andrea Kruger 4 times across her face, neck, and shoulder after pulling her over in her SUV. Soon after he left his trail of destruction behind, Jenkins was apprehended, and after 8 hours of interrogation, he confessed to each murder. But rather than declaring himself to be a cold-blooded killer, Jenkins suggested that the murders weren't his will and were orchestrated by a higher power. According to Nico, each life he took was intended as an offering to Apopsis, an Egyptian serpent god that, according to mythology, is a demon chaos that symbolizes evil. Since then, he has suggested that the indecipherable tattoos scrawled across his body are written in the language that he communicates to the deity in. Once behind bars and awaiting trial, Jenkins began a campaign of gruesome self-harm and mutilation that forever alter his appearance. On top of splitting his tongue so that it emulates that of a snake.
Hell no. Ain't no motherfucking way I'm cutting my tongue so it can look like this shit right here, you feel me? Ain't no way I'm cutting my tongue like this so it can feel it look like some shit like this. Like, what? Ooh, boy, you know what kind of pain I had to go? You have to go through to slit your. Nah, I'm good on that shit. I ain't slitting my tongue for that. And that's how you know you messed up, Jack. You fucking doing stupid shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do that, bro? He really took it too far with that shit. Splitting your tongue to imitate some shit like this and worshiping some crazy devil satanic shit, killing people. Man, we ain't supposed to be bringing each other down. We're supposed to be building each other up. That's why shit the way it is now. You know what I'm saying?
Nico carved Satan into his forehead before crudely emblazoning the name Egyptian Queen Hatshepsut into his chest with another razor. At this time, Jenkins' sanity came into question, and soon, one psychological evaluation said that its pattern of self-mutilation was not inconsistent with what can be seen in developmental disabilities. A panel of judges convened to make a decision on whether he was fit to be executed. it was revealed that his sentence of 450 years in prison would be overturned in favor of him receiving the death sentence. In doing so, Jenkins became the 12th member of Omaha's death row. Barring any major new evidence, Nico, who's held in solitary confinement for 23 hours of the day, will never see the outside world again.
Welcome to CSL TV. And you know, we about to talk about this guy named Nico Jenkins now. I don't know if y'all heard of Nico Jenkins, but this dude worships some devil, satanic, Egyptian type crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to share a little bit about him. He's definitely not alive. He got killed some time back, you know, through lethal injection or whatever the fuck they did to him. But it's just crazy to hear about, you know what I'm saying, the people that's in this world and some of the crazy things that they do. It's real crazy to hear about just how people worship death and killing folks and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just so weird, but let's get it. But like I always say, be careful of your surroundings. Watch everything. Try to keep an eye on the people you be with, you know, because a lot of people are dealing with mental problems that nobody know about, and the simplest, smallest trigger could turn that into a bad episode.